have already studied several functions this year. We've done linear, we've done quadratics, we did exponentials, we did logarithms, and we did square roots and absolute values. So we've done several already. Now we're going to move to something called a polynomial. So go ahead and highlight that. We're going to now do something called a polynomial. And a polynomial in one variable has real number coefficients, and then it's x to a whole number exponent. And I want you to, the exponents are non-negative integers. So let's write down, they can be, the exponents can be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. They cannot be negative and they cannot be fractions. And you can take one term, is called a monomial, and we can add them together to make a polynomial. When a polynomial is set equal to a second variable, such as y, or f of x, it is defined as a polynomial function. The degree of a polynomial, or a polynomial function, is the power of the term that has the greatest exponent. So let's highlight that. The degree is really going to be the highest exponent. For example, linear functions are called first-degree polynomials. Quadratic would be second-degree polynomials. So if you look below, I have y equals 1x cubed plus 9x squared plus 26x plus 24. The highest power is a 3, so we would call that a third degree or cubic polynomial. So we're going to look at some examples, and we're going to look at the number of terms, and then you can name it by its degree and by how many terms. So a polynomial can get two names to it. So if there's one term, we call it a monomial. If the degree is 0, because do you understand that 5 is really 5x to the 0, x to the 0 power, remember, was 1. So if you have 0 degree, it's called a constant. In my second row, 5x plus 3, there are two terms. We call it a binomial. The exponent is a 1, and that's called linear. All right, in my third row, 5x squared, how many terms are there? 1, right? There's one term. A term, let's write this down. A term is separated by addition or subtraction. Okay, a term is separated by addition or subtraction. So 5x squared is one term. What's the name for it? Monomial. The degree is the highest exponent on any of the variables. So what's my exponent? 2. So it's called a second degree. And guess what? We just finished chapter 5, and it was all on quadratics. Remember, ax squared plus bx plus c? So those are quadratics. All right, in the next row, 5x to the 4th minus 2x minus 1. I have 3 terms. This is called a trinomial. The degree is the highest exponent you see. So what would be my degree in this row? 4. We call this quartic. This is called quartic. And think about this. There's 4 quarts in a gallon. So quartic. 4 quarts in a gallon. So if the degree is 4, it's quartic. In this next one, I have 4 terms. Whenever you have 4 or more terms, we just call them a polynomial. Okay, 4 or more terms is just called a polynomial. What would be the degree on this one? 3, that's called a cubic function. All right? In the next row, how many terms are there? 2. What would I name it then? It's already in the table somewhere. Binomial. What's the degree? 4, and we call that quartic. 4 quarts in a gallon. All right, in this next one, there are 6 terms. So what would we name it by the number of terms? Polynomial. Good job. Poly, meaning many. What's my degree? 5, and it has a name called quintic. Quintic. All right, so the general form is like ax to the highest power plus ax to the next highest down to your constant. Factored form is where you have 1 times another times another. The first column here, the interceptor zeros form, do you see the difference between these two? You see 3x minus 2 really does have a solution of 2/3. Or no, I guess it isn't the same. This would be 2x minus 3. It's very close. And this is x plus I, x minus I. We are going to learn how to factor over the complex numbers, which we've done a little bit of work with that. You see x squared plus 1 is x plus I, x minus I. So I think I really wanted this to be 2/3 here. Let's change that to 2/3 so it's the same. So then here, my zeros would be 2/3 negative I, and 5. So factored form can have coefficients, but the interceptor zero form has only x's with no numbers in front. All right, we're going to take 60 seconds, and what I want you to do in this partner work is I want you to put it in general form. General form means highest power to lowest power. State the classification by degree, and state the classification by number of terms. And scroll back to our chart if you need help. So go ahead and try these 3. And then discuss at your tables. All right, go ahead and discuss at your tables. Say there's at least 3 people at every table, so have somebody say the general form, the name by degree, the name by number of terms, and do that for all 3. All right, let's take a look at these. In the first one, 9x squared plus 3x plus 5, that's quadratic and trinomial. Number 2, there's a problem here. Before you name it by the number of terms, you do combine like terms if there are any. So your general form, we would never ever leave 10x squared minus 6x squared in the general form because we know how to combine those. So number 2, you might need to fix this one. This would be x to the 4th plus 4x squared plus 4x minus 12. It's quartic and a polynomial. Number 3, this one is negative 4x to the 5th plus 2x squared minus x plus 3. It is quintic and a polynomial. All right, we are going to pause here a moment and do a quick activity. On your tables, you should see a giant Ziploc bag. And I would like you